there's a lot of timelines. And the reason I broke away from this Mars thing, and no matter how much they tried me to go, is because I knew it would destroy the timeline that I represent. Not necessarily, I'm not saying that I'm the only one that can make this happen, but, just knowing the amount of information and energy and astrology and everything that's sort of wrapped up into this Venus transits, Mayan calendar, and just Eisenhower legacy and the Magdalene thing. I know I'm a pretty, important person to stay on the planet to see this through, on top of the fact that I just didn't want to go and it didn't feel right. So I am preserving that positive timeline to the best of my ability, as others, are doing similar things. And when that happens, really veils start to get lifted. We become more of a multi-dimensional awareness to, this is why my website is called Cosmic Gaia, because really the planet is multi-dimensional. It has, it's connected to everything, and all these races and dimensions are a part of who we are as well. When we can start to lift these lids off, we have more access to our real power, and we work more in harmony with the power of creation and the power of life and death. So even those veils can get lifted, where we understand the regenerative and creative force behind it, rather than having to go into a portal that removes our physical body. We can actually be more in touch with it and utilize it as a force that can launch us, with more free will, to travel through those portals and wormholes and stargates without actually, the cycle of life and death and karma and all this kind of thing. And so 2012 is really an end time of the end of time as we know it, into more of an ageless, immortal, eternal way of being that is open to so much more. And then our imaginations and our creativity and our power are really the leader. But there's a lot that wants to stop that doesn't want that sort of liberation. And, we have to wait till we know how to handle it, or else, things are chaos until we get a grip on who we are internally, and how we choose to get along with others. So in the next 2 years, we really have to figure out, simple kindergarten skills of seeing each other in the world and every nation as our brother and sister. And I'm not, trying to make it all like hunky-dory, like New Agey, because it's not. It's just the nature of how any nucleus or any family or any group is required to work together for good results, positive results. So, so that's what I see. That's our greatest potential. That's really what these, what the Mayan calendar and these transits represent is the opening into all of that, into just this incredible artistry and empowerment of just who we are as creators. This human thing has really put us in a low place, and we don't have connection to the vastness of our higher chakras, and we're not able to anchor very well in our physical bodies. We deal with ailments and just we're relearning how to be what we really are. And so what's trying to get in the way is what I'm exposing. Even though I have the faith that it is out of our way, it would be silly to just assume that and then find that it's actually not the case, and I kept my mouth shut. So I kind of feel that responsibility to come forward.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of technologies.
Well, speaking of technology, I'm going to throw this out, and you may have an answer for it, or you may not, but I came across it on the Internet today. I think it was Newsweek or somebody has put together a flash presentation about the building of the space station, the International Space Station, since the 90s. And there was an actual flash movie of it coming together, and I mean, it's this giant thing in the sky. And do you know anything about it? What is it for?
The space station?
Yeah. Do you have any clues about it?
I don't really know. I'll have to look into it. I'm really good at sniffing out what is beneficial and what isn't, because obviously there's going to be space travel. There's life on other planets. We're really going to open up to everything. It's just wanting to avoid the agendas that use us as slaves, and the agendas that, take our power and use it for their benefit, where we're always feeling small and unable to have any sense of control or of our own lives and our own destiny. So
yeah, because
hopefully it's a good thing.
One of Nostradamus's predictions had mentioned this thing in the sky. When this thing in the sky was completed, well, you know, he was always talking about the end of the world. Now, is it the end of the world as we know it, or what? But that just came across my desk this morning. I thought I'd share it with you, see if you had any information. I do want to ask you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it and determine, just because, like I said, knowing what feels right and what doesn't, just growing up with, you know, those forces kind of on me, I'm really good at being able to tell. So I'll definitely drop you an email once I get a little bit more of an idea.
Okay, great. Now, I wanted to ask you about your name.
Okay.
Laura Magdalene Eisenhower. Now, first off, is that your real name?
Well, this is what's happened after I wrote the article. People are like, well, I know her. Her name is Laura Mahan, or we didn't see her on the family tree on the Internet. And there's been a lot of, you know, speculation that I'm not really who I am, or this isn't my real name. So for the record, there's articles already that have proven that this is my real name. I sent my driver's license, and my legal name is actually Laura Bradshaw Eisenhower Mahan. So Eisenhower is in my legal name. I dropped Mahan because that was a stepdad, and it was added to my name legally. My birth name is Laura Madeline Bradshaw. At 11, it got legally changed because my mom and dad got a divorce, and my mom wanted me to have the Eisenhower name because that's her maiden name. So she decided to drop the Madeline and make it Laura Bradshaw, because that's my biological father's last name, Laura Bradshaw Eisenhower Mahan. At that time, Mahan was my stepfather. Well, here I am as an adult. Mahan doesn't really apply. Bradshaw, well, you know, that's in there, but he became a priest, and, you know, it's just, I'm attached to that name, but my father gave me the name Madeline, and I wanted to retrieve it, because that's, you know, my gosh, that's such a huge part of my life. So I just kind of closed my eyes. What feels like my name? Laura Magdalene, I added that because it's a variation of it. Laura Magdalene Eisenhower. And all of them have been at one time either legally there, or, I mean, they're on some documentation of you know, either a birth certificate or my current driver's license. I just picked my three favorite out of all names that I've ever been given. And some people just use names that they haven't been given, right? So, you know.
Right.
And these have been given to me, and even if they weren't, you know, so what? We give our names the names we identify with. I wouldn't just take Eisenhower just because, hey, that sounds nice. It's actually a family name. He's my great-grandfather, and it's on my driver's license, so it makes sense to me to use it.
Yeah. And okay, so let's talk about the legacies, the Eisenhower legacy, the Magdalene legacy. How do you feel they connect?
Well, you know, the Eisenhower has dealt with a lot of the things on the physical plane, the wars, the just being able to stand against your own country. It's like Eisenhower fought against the Germans, and the Germans were the ones that wanted to sort of take over. So it's that warrior, that fight for peace and justice, that warning of the military-industrial complex, the exposure to ET forces, any decisions that were made that were maybe not positive for whatever reason, that I believe he did his best this whole way through. I feel like I'm carrying that legacy to just set everything straight and just continue with that warriorship and you know, bring peace and justice and tie up all loose ends. And then the Magdalene is very much, you know, been in exile, and the divine feminine energies have been in exile and buried, and our culture has really lacked from having that strong essence to keep things in balance. We've sort of had a patriarchal world for a while, and so that rising of the feminine has been very important to really just fill in the missing pieces of both men and women. It's a part of who we all are, and it's been a bit repressed and pushed to the side. Because it's such a powerful force, it's been the force that's been manipulated and suppressed and buried the most. So, you know, I feel like these rivers both flow into me and out of me as just my connection to them and the validation and proof that I've gotten that I have a strong connection to Sophia, not just from these secret societies, but from, you know, 10-plus psychics that have confirmed this, and my, you know, astrological chart. So I feel, okay, well, these two are kind of holding hands, and they kind of come together. And, you know, the Magdalene energy and the Sophia energy has a strong warrior side, and the Eisenhower one, you know, has a strong sense of equality and justice and peace, and it just seems how interesting, you know, they both carry, huge missions on a global scale. And they're almost code words for me for unity and peace and justice and equality. And so, I just feel like I'm allowed to be a voice for that part of all of us that are fighting to break free. And I'm really here to empower others and bring their work and creativity and contributions to our awareness as well. I'm really into promoting all sorts of people and their amazing gifts for this world. So it's kind of like it's everybody's heritage. The Magdalene bloodline, I feel, is humanity's bloodline. And that's why I also knew that something was weird, because why would they want to take me away? This is not something exclusive. This is all of us. So
what can you tell me?
They're similar. Go ahead.
What can you tell me about the Sophia energy?
Yeah, that's a very strong. It's considered the feminine aspect of God, but to not confuse anybody, it's a part of the divine blueprint. When you think of DNA and who are our real parents, we have our genetic parents, we have our earth parents, but then we have something much deeper. I mean, we can connect to something beyond our family. Some of us are rebellious, some of us never really understand our family, and we're always maybe reaching for more or remembering more than just where we were born into in this particular life. So the Sophia Christ energy is a much deeper blueprint. It's part of our DNA. The tree of life and the whole Kabbalah and the divine pair and everything that's set up, if one really looks at those blueprints, that is us. And so that represents just what we're trying to get back to. There's a part of it that's called DOS, and that's the journey into the underworld, to go through that darkness, to break free of all controls, to really return to that true genetic restoration of what we've truly inherited and who our parents really are, who our own physical earth parents are. And it's not just parents. It's we're not just children. We are that as well. I mean, we're meant to be on that level. We're meant to be. Christ even said, "You have the power that I do," and God is not separate. It's within you. And there was never any desire for worship or hierarchy from him or Sophia. So there's been a lot of misunderstanding in religion. Even though it served a lot of people well during these dark ages, it's time to kind of bring it back down to just, what is this all about? And so Sophia represents to me the part of that pair that has been the most misunderstood and sort of lost to us. And she has a voice that wants to, help explain what's actually been going on. There's only so much me, myself, can remember, but through psychics and assistance of hypnoregression, there's a lot that there's a lot of stories that can tell to answer a lot of questions, just because, as they say, I embodied a lot of the people in history that represented Sophia. And since then and now, I've always, worked to awaken Sophia and all, because this is a part of our nature. This is a part of who we are. So Laura and identity as Laura is sort of irrelevant. It's kind of like I've sort of let go of that and given myself to something much larger. I even said as a kid, please use my body as a vessel, and whatever you need to do to create, this ultimate destiny and our highest potential, I will go through it. I will do it. So it's very much a cosmic force, a force of nature, rather than some identity or some hierarchical deity that I'm trying to promote here. It definitely is representing all of us and the part of us that's trying to come to the surface, as I've been trying to come to the surface and dig my way out of all these manipulations and darkness and battles and horrendous things.
Give your website out again, please.
Cosmic, COSMIC, Gaia, GAIA, 2012.com. And it tells the story a bit of the Venus journey and all the work that I do.